Senator Ferdinand.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm not sure that the members present would have been able to provide the clarity or some, enlighten me a little bit. Perhaps the Minister for National Security would have been in a better position. However, I'll just mention it so that it could be looked at. Under the Section 11A, 118A, there is a statement there that refers to the infant, description of the infant. It says the infant is a person under 18 years of age, but does not include a person who has been married. Now, I have found that a few of our legislative documents or some of our laws, there's a bit of conflict sometimes that exists, and we need to sometimes try to sort it out because it creates a lot of difficulty for persons in positions that encounter or deal with young people, children, and even students. For example, we have the issue with the age of consent and the age of what we consider an adult. And in school sometimes you have this conflict where a 16-year-old can consent to some adult activities, but in other cases they cannot, they have to be 18. And I think in this case, when you look at the context within which this act is being amended, I'm not sure, and again, there's probably some legal jargon there, that the meaning of infant as somebody under the age of 18 years who has or has not been married. Does that suggest that somebody under 18 in St. Lucia can be married? I'm just, because if it actually speaks of someone who is or has not been married, someone who is 17 or 16, can that person be married? Can that, and then we have the issue of consent versus legal age. I think what I'm really saying is that at some point our laws, our legislation needs to be a little more coherent with the realities. And so that we get situations where there is the juvenile court, for example, has to be dealing with matters that overlap with the criminal court. And schools have to be calling on legal minds to guide on matters that are included in the Education Act, for example. So you have teachers, principals, caregivers, persons who are responsible for young people, for example, in the Boys Training Center, where you have a lot of confusion. I think there are lots of legal minds who may be able to help clarify this. So when we come to the House to make amendments to such legislation, I think we should take into consideration some of those conflicting or overlapping issues that exist in the legislation that we are bringing to the House and in the legislation that existed before. So in making those amendments, I think it would be wise to keep those in mind. That would be my major concern. But in general, I think the Child Protection and Adoption Bill is a very useful move in light of some of the serious concerns that we have as those of us who have been responsible for young people, the kinds of vulnerable situations that they find themselves in. And so any bill or act that seeks to protect them is something that I think we as an opposition would welcome. But we just want to make sure that it does not conflict with existing laws, existing legislation, and that when we do the amendments, we keep those things in mind. Thank you, Madam President.